All right, for our Monday night Hatha practice, let's start on our back. So find your way to your mat. If you have blocks, have them handy so that they are easily accessible to you. On your back, find fallen bridge. So fallen bridge is like the feet are as wide as your mat, and then the knees knock in and rest on one another. And let's take the arms into maybe a cactus position to open the chest a little bit. So the elbows are at 90 degrees, palms are facing up. Go ahead and close your eyes. And let's connect with the most sacred of all spaces, the space between you and your own breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Finding an even inhale to exhale ratio. I like to breathe in for a count of 3 and out for a count of 3, but you can change that to find a shorter or a longer inhale and exhale. As you breathe, come a little deeper towards your physical body. First, noticing if there is any tension that you might be holding on to. Tension from the day. See if you can consciously let that go. Maybe begin to soften a little more. And then connect with intention. If you have anything in particular that you are working on, or if there's something that comes to mind when I say intention, I want you to use that. Connect with your personal intention for this evening's class. And if nothing organically rises to the surface for yourself, then maybe no intention is needed. Maybe what is needed is to really just be here in this space, connecting with breath and body. One more breath in and breath out. Go ahead, bring the knees back apart and then send your left leg long. Hug the right knee in towards the chest. You can grab your hamstring or the shin. Hugging it in nice and tight. Breath in through the nose. On your exhale, roll the head, neck, and shoulders off the mat. So you're looking down at your left foot. If you can let the shoulders drop away from the face. If this bothers your neck at all, you can just leave it on the floor, grab a pillow. And on your inhale, start to roll back down. On your exhale, rolling head, neck, and shoulders off the mat. Engaging core a little bit more. Maybe lift the left leg off. Squeeze your thigh and flex. So left leg is hovering maybe 6 inches above the mat. And go ahead and release, slowly roll back down. And then switching legs, sending the right leg long, hugging the left knee in towards the chest. And stay here for a breath or two. Breath in through the nose, and on your exhale, rolling head, neck, and shoulders off the mat. Maybe your forehead comes up, like it's gravitating towards the knee. And go ahead and slowly roll back down. We'll do one more. Exhale, rolling up. This time, take the right leg off the floor, squeeze and flex. Maybe come up a little bit higher, drop the shoulders. Breath in and breath out. Slowly release, come back. Bring both feet to the mat with the knees bent. We're going to go right into a little bit of bridge work here. So the heels gravitate towards the glutes or towards the fingertips. Drop the shoulders away from your face. Inhale, press your low back down. Exhale, rolling up into your bridge. At the top of your bridge, tuck your shoulders and your shoulder blades underneath you. So you get a little bit more of a back bend, a little more chest opening. Now in this, there is some pressure at the base of your neck, so keep your focal point up towards the ceiling. Imagine that you've got a blocker ball in between your thighs so that you lightly engage inner thighs, outer hips. Lift up a little bit higher. Big breath in. Exhale, rolling down, untuck the shoulders, come down vertebrae by vertebrae. Tailbone hits the mat, and we're going to do that once more. Inhale, press the low back down. Exhale, rolling up into your bridge. You always have the option in a bridge to bring your hands underneath your hips if you're wanting a little bit more support, or even if you want to get a little bit deeper, a little higher in your back bend. Imagine a blocker ball in between the thighs, engaging, squeezing, pressing into the big toes. Breath in, breath out. One more breath in, lift up a little bit higher. Exhale, rolling down, untucking the shoulders, and bring the knees into the chest. Hug in nice and tight. Head, neck, and shoulders roll off the mat, coming into a ball. And then bring your feet back to the floor. We're going to work our way into a supine cow's face, and eventually we're going to do a cow's face pose on the mat or in a seated position, but we're going to try it on our backs first. So take your right knee, cross over your left knee, and then you're going to pull your knees in towards your face, flexing both feet. Option here to grab for the hamstrings, the shin, or maybe the outside edges of the feet. So there's a lot of choice for what you want to do with your hands. The knees are trying to stack as best you can. Breath in and breath out. Notice what you're feeling. Close your eyes even. Connect. So eventually we're going to do this in a seated position. I want you to be able to compare and contrast the supine versus the seated. Breath in, breath out. You can see if there's space for a little bit more. Maybe the knees gravitate a little closer towards the chest. Maybe you can hug it in. Maybe this is enough. Last breath in And exhale to release. Bring the feet back to the floor and cross the knees. And then we'll switch our direction. So take the left knee, cross it over the right knee, and then hug the knees in towards the chest. Option here to grab the back of the hamstrings and pull in, the shins, or the outside edges of the feet, which are flexed. So the feet are flexing, pulling back. If you have a strap, you have the option to run the strap around the feet and kind of use that as an extension of your arms as well. Another modification or option with this is to put a block or even a little pillow underneath your butt. It can help bring your knees closer to your face. Close the eyes again. Notice, observe what you're feeling and where. Also, maybe how the left versus right. And we do so without judgment. It's only noticing. It's a practice of awareness. Last breath in. And go ahead, slowly release, uncross the knees, hug both into the chest, grab the shins or the hamstrings. If it feels good in your body to rock and roll, go ahead, rock and roll, tucking the chin, massage out the length of your spine. We're gonna rock and roll all the way forward into a downward facing dog. So you can cross the ankles and roll forward or sweep the feet off to the side. Spreading the fingers, planting the toes, and lifting the hips up for downward facing dog. Let's start with a really generous bend in the knee. So the knees are deeply bent. Draw the chest and the belly towards the thighs. Actively press the mat away. Ears are in alignment with your biceps. And remember your core. Draw the navel back in. Knit the rib cage back together. So you'll actually have a little bit of lift out of your middle back with that movement. And breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. One more breath in. On your exhale, walk your feet slowly to your hands. Nice way to warm up the backs of the legs, walking the feet slowly. Come to a forward fold with the feet hips width apart. Knees are soft. Let the upper body hang and be heavy. Breath in and breath out. On your inhale, start to walk your feet back to your down dog. So slowly walk the feet back. Find your downward facing dog. Generous bend in the knees. Find your form. Remember, you're looking always for that triangle shape. Dropping chest and belly closer to the thighs. Nice adjustments, everyone. Remember the core. Zip the rib cage back together. Breath in. Breath out. One more breath in. Exhale, slowly walk the feet into the hands, forward fold, top of your mat. Feet are hips width apart. Let the upper body just hang and be heavy. Fully let go. Head, neck, and shoulders. Always have the option to grab opposite elbows if you'd like. You can also bring your hands to the outside bones of the elbows and then pull. So if your hands are on the outside edges, you're going to pull. You're going to feel some space kind of in the side bodies, maybe in the middle back area with that movement. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And breath out. Go ahead, release the hands. Keep the feet hips width apart. Inhale, halfway lift. Stay right here. In our halfway lift, bring the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, straighten the elbows. If you want, you can always leave them just kind of be soft and resting on your lower back. Draw the energy up through the feet. Legs are strong. Shoulders move away from the face. Crown of the head extends forward. Breath in. Exhale, bend the knees. Let the head and upper body drop down and the hands fall behind the head. So we're in a humble forward fold. And you'll notice that your shoulders will sink down towards your ears. I actually want you to make space. So take your hands, your knuckles, reach them up towards the ceiling. So now there's lots of space between ears and shoulders. And breath in, breath out. Inhale, halfway lift, straightening the legs. Hands hover right above the glutes or the low back. Option to soften and just let them rest. Let's do that once more. Breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Knees are soft. Let the hands fall back. Humble forward fold. You can do a little yes and no nod of the head. And then take the hands, reach them up towards the ceiling. Make some space. Breath in. Breath out. One more breath in. Exhale, keep the legs, just soften the arms and let them hang and be heavy, melting back towards the floor. On your inhale, halfway lift, hands come to the shins, find your flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose, reverse dive, sweep the hands all the way up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Holding hands at heart center, step the right foot back. We're going to find high lunge or crescent lunge. So right foot goes all the way back. Before we do anything with the upper body, let's just find the legs. So for the most ease in the pose, feel free to take a wider stance. And then press into the ball of the back foot. So now the heel starts to stack over the toes. Front knee is tracking with ankle. So notice if the knee is collapsing in. And then see if there's space. Maybe you want to drop down a little bit deeper. Pull the chest back. Rib cage comes back together. Feel free to hold the hands right here at prayer. Or maybe take them up. Softening the shoulders. Stay right here. I'm going to check out everybody's form, how we're doing today. So if you have the arms extended over your head or you have steeple grip, which is great, awesome, squeeze, but then soften so the shoulders melt down. Really nice. Breath in, breath out. Option to look up towards the ceiling. Take the steeple grip or the hands and float them behind you. A little more balance challenge. Now, if you're looking at the ceiling, stay there with your focal point, but bring your awareness back into your legs. What happened with your front knee? What happened with your back heel? Is there space? Can you come in a little bit lower? Do you want to? What happens if you bend your back knee? You can play around with that. Breath in and breath out. Breath in. And breath out. Last breath in. On your exhale, bring the hands back to heart center, looking straight ahead, and then launch. So press into your back foot, launch up, mountain pose. Feet hips width apart. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, switching sides. Step the left foot back. Again, play around with your stance. It's interesting to know that yoga was really intended for males and was heavily male dominated for, like thousands of years until the women took over. So allow your space for your own hips. Make your stance a little bit wider if you need to. And then press into that back foot so that the heel is stacking over the toes. Front knee with ankle. Drop down a little bit deeper. Chest pulls back, shoulders over hips, hands at heart center. And breath in. Breath out. Option to stay here or take the hands high. If you want, interlace the hands. Steeple grip. That means your pointer fingers go up towards the ceiling. Stay here for a breath or two first before you add a back bend. Remember, if you've got that steeple grip or if your arms are up, we're still softening shoulders. So if your shoulders are scrunching up, drop them down. Stay here or float the hands back, look up. See if you can still be strong in your core, knitting the rib cage back together. Keeping your focal point at the ceiling. No worries, Brett. Take your time, come back in. It's a lot of balance challenge to look up towards the ceiling. Keeping your focal point up, bring that awareness into your legs. Does anything need to be adjusted? Do you need to press into the back foot a little more? Do you need to adjust your front knee? Can you find more depth? Or is this enough for today? Breath in, breath out. One more breath in. Exhale, bring the hands back to heart center, looking straight ahead. And then launch up, press into your back foot, launch back, mountain pose. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, sweep the hands high, reach them for the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hip, leading with the chest all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, back is flat. Exhale, high plank. Jump or step back to your high plank. Take your variations. Always have the option to drop down to the knees. Whatever you are choosing, find alignment, shoulders, elbows, wrist. And then squeeze your thighs. Knit the rib cage back together. Really push the mat away. Push, 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 push. Breath in. Breath out. Breath is very even here. Even inhale for 3. Exhale for 3. One more breath in. Exhale, drop the knees to the mat and take your right foot, bring it to the outside of your right hand. We're moving into lizard pose. So right foot is to the outside edge of your mat. Option here to use blocks is always really nice. I'm going to turn so everybody can kind of see what I'm going to do with my knee. So in your lizard pose, you can stay right here. Hands can be on the floor. Your hands can be on blocks. You can eventually come down to your forearms if you want. Now this is a nice variation if you have any knee issues. If you don't have knee issues and you want to kind of go a little bit deeper, take your right knee and drift it over to the right. So you're rolling on the outside edge of the foot. And then decide, where do you want to be? Do you want to be up tall, hands on mat, hands on block? Do you want to maybe see if there's space? Can you come down onto the forearms, either on blocks or all the way to the floor? Whatever you're choosing, I still want you to think about length. Length throughout the spine, so the crown of the head is extending forward. And actively push the mat away. So if you're on the forearms, press so that you're not sinking into the shoulders. And let that open. So there's action in the forearms, action in the core, and then there's surrender in the hip flexor and in and around the hip areas. Maybe the outside of that right glute. So in our yoga poses, I would say most of the time there's a balance between structure, like the structure, the more analytical part, and then the softness, the relaxing in. So the whole pose is not mush. We're not relaxing all things, but we're really relaxing some places. And finding the structure in others so that there is balance. Breath in, keep pressing the mat away, drawing the navel in, rib cage comes back together. Last breath in. And exhale, we're going to slowly release, come back. So bring the knee so it's back in alignment with your ankle. And then shift the right knee back. So find table. And then take your left foot, bring it to the outside edge of the mat. So you have a wide stance. Allow the hips to sink down. Option, you decide what you want to do with your hands. I like my hands on blocks because eventually I like to bring my forearms to the blocks. If you have knee issues, stay right here. Keep the knee in alignment with the ankle and just let the hips sink to the floor, pressing into the feet. If you don't have knee issues, take the left knee, drift it off to the side so that the foot rolls on the edge. Now, if you're staying up tall, pushing the mat away on the hands, your focal point is straight ahead. There's still strength in the core so that you're not totally sinking into everything. Take your variations. Maybe you want to be on the forearms. Find the balance between the structure of the pose and then the sweetness or the softness of it. Think about length, crown of the head extending forward. Last breath in. And exhale, slowly release. Come back up, bring the left knee in alignment with the ankle. You can set your blocks aside if you're using them. Sweep the left foot back, downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, reach the hips high. Feel free to take a deep bend in the knee if you like that variation, or maybe prioritize a little bit more the straightening of the legs. Breath in and breath out. Breath in and breath out. One more breath in. On your exhale, walk the hands and the feet together. So you're in the middle of your mat in a forward fold with your knees soft. Feet are hips width apart. Really let the upper body go once again. On your inhale, halfway lift, back is flat. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, mountain pose, reverse dive, hinging at the hip all the way back up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. We're going to work our way into a one-legged chair pose. And if that does not work for your body, I want you to take a tree variation instead. Begin to weight load your right leg. And now bring the left ankle on top of the knee. Feel free to grab wall space here. And if that doesn't work, you're going to take a tree variation. Finding your balance, your form, softening shoulders, strengthen the core. Top foot or the left foot is flexing. Option to stay here or bend into the knee and sit down. So we're sitting down. As deep as you want to go, or maybe deeper than you want to go for a little more challenge. So this is balance and strength, but it's also, we're still opening that glute. Breath in, breath out. Remember, if this does not work for you, find your tree, either with a toe on the floor, foot on the calf, or a foot on the inner thigh. See if there's space. Can you sink a little deeper? Keep the chest lifting, strength in the core, navel in, rib cage back together. And breath in. And a little more option here. On your exhale, you're going to dive forward into a forward fold. Here's a great place for blocks. So my blocks are over there. I can't reach them. If they were close, I would have my hands on blocks right here. So we're in this little bit of a forward fold variation. Do what works for your body. If this doesn't work, just take a regular forward fold. Let the head drop. And breath in. Breath out. On your inhale, bend back into your right knee. Come back. Bring the hands to heart center. And then I really want you to launch. Press into your right foot. Lift up. Take the hands up and let go. Whoo, of the left leg. Breath in. Exhale, hands come to heart center. We'll find our way on the opposite side. Bending into the left knee. Also, feel free to grab your wall space. Right ankle, bring it on top of the thigh. If you can, you're bringing it so far over, the ankle and foot are actually overhanging the leg, kind of like when we do that supine pigeon. Finding structure first, form, focal points. Option to bend down deep. Keep the chest lifted. Heart center is open. Shoulder blades come together and melt down the back. Breath in. Breath out. If you fall out, no worries. Just take your time and hop in. Feel free to take tree. You might notice maybe one side feels accessible or is a little more accessible. Maybe the opposite side is not. See if there's space. Can you go deeper than you want to go? One more breath in. Exhale, dive forward. Keep the legs, hands on blocks. I think would be my preferred method here. Have my hands on blocks. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. This variation or just regular forward fold. On your next inhale, come back, bend into your left knee, bring the hands to heart center, make your way to this one-legged chair, and then we're gonna launch. So press into your left foot, launch up, release the right leg, hands high, and exhale, bring the hands into prayer. Go ahead, kind of shake that out. I'm gonna check our time. Perfect. All right, we're going to make our way onto the mat and work into a seated cow's face pose. If you notice, we're just kind of concentrating on the legs tonight. We're not really going to do the arms. If you want to add the arms to this, feel free to do so. Inhale, hands high, reach up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, high plank, jump or step back. Find your form, hold it here, hold, hold, hold. Option to be on the knees, option to make a fist. Have your big knuckles facing down, option to be in forearms. The structure, the alignment is really important in your plank. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, pushing the mat away, engaging thighs. Navel in, rib cage back together. You can also think about bringing your shoulder bones towards your hip bones or your hip bones towards your shoulders. So you're getting a little bit more abdominal engagement. One more breath in. And exhale, drop the knees down, sweep the feet off to the side. Let's set up for cow's face. If you think that you want to do the arms and you have a strap, go ahead and have that handy. Bring the feet out in front, knees are bent, and then the right foot comes underneath the left knee, drawing it back towards the glute, and then the left leg crosses over, coming back towards the right glute or right hip. Ideally, we're trying to stack the knees. Mine obviously are not stacked, but that's kind of what we're striving for, is a stacked knee. Both feet stay flexed, that helps their alignment. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. On your exhale, you're going to hinge at the hip, go forward. Maintain a flat back here, so no rounding. Chin is slightly tucked, so there's lots of length. And you're going far enough forward that you're feeling, again, the stretch around the outsides of the glutes. Go ahead and close your eyes. Now compare this to the supine cow's face that we did on our backs when we started. So this is the same thing, except we're in a seated position, not our back. Notice, can you feel this more? Do you feel it less? Where is it? Is it the same? Is it different? Now, if you wanted to add the arms in, go for it. I'm not going to cue it, but I know many of you just know what to do with the arms. So if you're wanting that, add it in. Breath in, breath out. See if you can hinge at the hip a little bit more, but maintain that flat back. So the shoulder blades come together, the heart center lifts. You can even imagine your tailbone lifting for the sky or the ceiling, so that there's like a little bit more of an arch in your low back. That might go in deeper, might intensify. Last breath in. And exhale, slowly release. Unwind yourself. Let's extend the legs long and just kind of bounce the knees a little bit. Go ahead and shake that out, bouncing the legs. And then we're going to switch sides. So bend the knees, bring the feet back. And now the left foot goes underneath the right knee, and the right foot goes over. Again, ideally, we're trying to stack knee on knee. Feet are flexed. Sit up tall, crown of the head extending forward. Breath in. Exhale, hinge at the hip, go forward. Maintain that flat back, so no rounding of shoulders. Shoulder blades come back together and down towards the tailbone. Can slightly tuck the chin and then reach the crown of the head long. Breathing even in for 3 and out for 3. And bring your awareness back into that first cow's face on our backs in a supine position. So if for any reason you do not like the seated version, if you're in my class or anybody else's class, feel free to always grab it on your back. You can hit most of the same places. Now that's not true for every body, but it might be true for your body. Is there space? Can you go a little deeper? Maintaining the flat back. Lift your tailbone, even arch the low back. Lift up a little bit more. Breath in, breath out. Last breath in, and go ahead and release. We're going to unwind and come onto the hands and knees. We're going to make our way into pigeon. So let's take a downward dog just to kind of wiggle everything out. Go ahead, bring a lot of movement here if you want. Just kind of bend and shift. Breath in and breath out. Inhale the right leg high, reach the toes up if you want. And then on your exhale, pull the right knee in towards the chest. Let's set up either with the foot either under the body or sweeping off to the left side of the mat, settling the hips. Now you always have the option here to do a supine pigeon on the back if you do not like this variation of pigeon. Check your back leg. You want hip, knee, ankle, same line. And you want a neutral rotation or maybe even an internal rotation. So that means your knee is facing in towards the midline of the body, maybe just a little bit. Find some action here. We're going to scissor the knees. So scissor the knees. You're going to feel yourself lift up. Take your left hip, draw it forward while the right hip reaches back. So imagine the bones, your hip bones were like headlights on a car. You're trying to make them even. Breath in, breath out. Keep scissoring, pulling forward and back, softening shoulders. Strengthen your core. I want your low back to feel supported. Take one more breath in. And on your exhale, come into more passive pigeon if you want. If you prefer that more active pigeon, stay there. Grab your block for your forehead. Settle in. Feel the evenness in your hips. This is also a good space to grab a pillow underneath your right glute or a block. Now in this variation, we're finding more of the softness. We did the structured part with the more active pigeon, and now we're finding more softness here, allowing for a deeper release, a deeper surrender into our pigeon. Breath in. On your exhale, walking the hands back towards the body. Tuck the left toes, knee comes off the mat, float downward facing dog. Movement here. And then we'll find our way to the opposite side. Inhale, left leg high, reach the toes up if you want, optional. Exhale, pull the knee in towards the chest, and then the foot can stay under the body if you have knee issues, or sweep it off to the right side of your mat. If you do have knee issues, I would maybe recommend a supine pigeon if that works for you. Check out your back leg, hip, knee, ankle. You want that nice alignment. And then a little bit of a neutral or an internal rotation of your knee. Let's find the structure. Scissor the knees together. So imagine they were gonna scissor, come closer, and then adjust the hips. Right hip now reaches forward, left hip pulls back, shoulders melt down, navel pulls in. Even breath in and out. Inhale a little bit more shifting of the hips, a little more scissoring of the knees. Exhale, come down. Find the more passive pigeon. Feeling the balance. So notice if you kind of slack off to one side or the other. Find the balance. Breath in and breath out. Letting the belly drop and be heavy. Letting go of hands and face. Resting the forehead on a block or maybe all the way down to the mat. Last breath in. And exhale, walk the hands in towards the body. You're going to shift your weight onto your left glute and sweep the right leg all the way around, both legs long, seated, forward fold. Engaging the thighs, flex the feet. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, go forward. I like to have a little softness in my elbows so that my shoulders can relax down the back. Feel free to grab a strap here if you have it. Think about length. Think about your heart center, your collarbones reaching for your shins, for your knees. Last breath in. And exhale, walking the hands in towards the body. Bend your knees, plant the feet on the floor. Hands along the sides. Breath in and exhale, rolling down. Take your time. Arms overhead. Inhale to stretch. And exhale to find Shavasana, either keeping the arms overhead, maybe at the sides, maybe extended out from the shoulders. Come to the end of your practice. Find a pillow or a blanket if that is calling you. And we're breathing in through our nose and out through the nose. Feeling the belly rise and fall. Body becomes heavy and melts into your mat. Letting go of all the things. If you have a wandering mind, keep coming back to your breath, anchoring in this space. Yoga people, if a longer Shavasana is calling you, stay right here. If you are ready to move on, wiggle your fingers and your toes. And slowly draw the knees in towards the chest. And make your way to either side for fetal child's pose. Taking a moment to transition, to pause, maybe reconnect with your intention if you placed one at the beginning of your practice. Or maybe you want to set an intention right now for your sleep this evening. One more breath in. And exhale, push yourself into easy seated if you are coming out of your practice. We'll end with some collective breath. Take your hands, inhale, reach up. Exhale out the mouth into prayer. Let that all go. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, blow it all out. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Hands at heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me this evening. Namaste. All right, awesome job, everyone. Thank you for joining me. If you want to unmute yourself, you can. I'm going to hit stop on my recording.